The economic crisis of 2008 affected many Americans. Many people lost their homes and jobs, especially if they worked in banking, real estate, or construction.
How was your job affected in the 2008 crisis?
Well, so my first job effect was when I was working with the home building company, and they asked me to go not reduce my hours, but to switch over to be an independent consultant and still manage the construction that was going on. And that would affect where I'd have to pay my own taxes and health care and that. And it took me off the salary of the company and moved me to a cost of the work. So it was an accounting, kind of an accounting function on the home builder's part, and a way to reduce their salaries and make it a direct cost. And so that seemed a little risky to me, so that's when I switched over to the construction defect industry and worked for that contractor. But eventually the industry downturn even got to them, and so I was laid off from that company for about 6 months. And that was a long, long 6 months to be laid off, and just hard to find other jobs in the construction industry because they were all affected. So I had to look outside into manufacturing and really other industries that could use my skills, but not necessarily in construction.
The crisis was caused by multiple events. One of those events was that the banks kept giving out subprime mortgages. Mortgages granted to individuals with poor credit history. The prices of homes were continually rising in the housing market and had been historically steady and reliable. So banks kept giving out mortgage loans to people with bad credit scores and low incomes just because the housing market had been doing so well.
All right, so in your opinion, what do you think the 2008 crisis was, and how did it affect you?
So really around 2008, and I was in the home building industry at the time, so I saw it affect that industry the most. And we had a lot of house loans, mortgages, that to have mortgages for well-qualified individuals, you also had to have a certain number for not so qualified people. So I think a lot of people got into houses that maybe really shouldn't have at that time. And so then with a lot of these recessions, it hits construction and home building early. And so a lot of those people started defaulting on their loans because they couldn't make all their payments. And then that started having a high vacancy of houses, and houses that were up for foreclosures. And that kind of snowballed into other industries, but definitely hit the home building and construction industries the most.
Then around 2007, housing prices started to decline and people started defaulting on their loans. The banks lost tons of money because they had given out so many subprime loans. Because of that, the stock market crashed. Some major banks, including Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, were forced to close because they were bankrupt. Many people lost their homes as a result and had to go into foreclosure, as well as many people losing their jobs.
Did you have a foreclosure on your house or any household loss?
So no foreclosure, luckily, but at that time I was trying to sell a house in Highlands Ranch because we were moving to Arvada, and so the marketability of that house in Highlands Ranch just had to keep lowering the price because there were more and more houses due to the foreclosures and just other people having to sell. So luckily didn't foreclose. Lost a significant amount of value on that house. First put it on sale at about $510,000, and just in houses right before that were selling anywhere in about the first 3 months. And unfortunately, as the market dropped, it took 12 months for that house to sell, and lowered the price about $90,000 over that 12 months to finally get it sold. So didn't go through foreclosure, thankfully, but it took a significant loss in the equity on that house.